Hey, let's move it to San Fran. So we have over/under, Brad, 8.5 wins for San Fran.
Man, I'm gonna go over. I like Jimmy G, and I had a lot of high hopes for him before he went down. I think he's the guy, and if he can stay away from extracurriculars, I think that they could have a good time, man. I think they could be successful. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. I think they're 9-7 this season, so I'm going to go over. But they have to stay healthy, obviously. Garoppolo, we saw him in 2017 at the end, right when he got traded. I think they won 5 in a row right after he went there. So we see what he could do. He started the year a little bit cold last year and then, of course, blew his knee out, I think, early in week 3. But, yeah, man, I mean, he's a quarterback. And this system, you have Tevin Coleman in at running back. You have Jerick McKinnon coming back. You have Breida who's they have a stable of running backs that can move the ball. George Kittle, I think, is a fantastic, as we saw last year, I think he's a fantastic tight end. Here's what I love about San Francisco. And, Brad, I know you're watching Herd this week, so you probably heard about this. Deebo Samuel, everybody's been talking about Deebo Samuel and how good he is. I think he's basically like a young Brandon Cooks. And I truly believe that. He looks like him. His game is like him. Kind of a smaller guy. I think he's maybe 6 foot, like 5'10" to 6 foot, somewhere in there. Fast guy, can move, run up and down the field and everything. I think he's going to be good. The better receiver, the one that people still aren't talking about yet, but I think they're starting to take notice because he got both touchdowns last week, Jalen Hurd. Another rookie. Oh my gosh! So he's 6'4". He's basically in the Shanahan's, because I know it pretty well, having been a former Washington Redskins season ticket holder, and of course watching the Denver Broncos in their heyday. And you get a feel for what the Shanahans want. They want a one-cut running back. They want a zone blocking scheme. So they want kind of a quicker, athletic offensive lineman. They want a tight end that they can use to move the chains. San Francisco has all that. Their running backs, one of those guys is going to be a star. The only thing that's keeping one of those guys from being a crazy star is if they split carries, which may or may not happen. We'll see. But I think Tevin Coleman has star capability. I loved him in Atlanta. I always thought he was better than Devonta Freeman. But Jalen Hurd, man, it reminds me, I can't even think of like a comparison. I've been racking my brain. What I would say is, some people may or may not know this. I don't know, and you may or may not know this. But Golden Tate, Brad, when he was at Notre Dame, was a running back for years. And then he switched at the end. He switched to receiver. And so what you got from Golden Tate, in my opinion, in the NFL, is you got a guy that didn't create a ton of separation. Like, he would have one step of separation, but he could catch the ball in tight spaces, and his ability to run after the catch was like a running back's ability to run after the catch, including running people over. Jalen Hurd was a running back at Tennessee, and I think he transferred somewhere else. He's 6'4". He runs the ball like a Golden Tate, like a running back runs the ball. He's as big as a tight end, and he basically can run routes like a Pierre Garçon. So he's like this amalgam. I think Deebo Samuel, I like him. I agree with the hype on him, but people not talking about Jalen Hurd, holy moly, this guy's going to be good. I think he actually came out of Baylor, so I think he transferred to Tennessee and went to Baylor, if I'm not mistaken. But
I heard his name.
Dude, he popped. You got to go back and watch these San Francisco highlights, man. Watch him. He's just like, he's a monster. He's a monster.
6'4", 227. Let's check out his 40 time. That's what I want to know. It's not everything, but I'm curious. A guy that big, what does he run it in?
I'm going to guess it was a 4.5 or 4.6. It's just my guess.
Okay. Oh, my God. 4.4. You were over. Circle gets a square, brother. Wow, 4.4.
This dude is built for this offensive system. He is built for it. So if you're in a dynasty league, look, he's moving up my rookie rankings considerably. He's ahead of Deebo Samuel, in my opinion. I said that in the Almanac too, I think. If I didn't, shame on myself, because I was thinking it right at draft day. I saw the tape, and I said, and I think I did write this in the manual. I said, look, I watched the tape. I reviewed these guys. In a Shanahan system, Jalen Hurd is the better fit for this system, but we'll see how it shakes out. And after watching that first preseason game, I think this dude, look, man, I don't say this often. You know what, Brad? He has a body type that reminds me of Terrell Owens. With a running ability of, like I said, like a running back. And that's why I say Pierre Garçon, who's a big guy. So.
And for me, he's that perfect height for a receiver. Like, he's like any taller than that, and he wouldn't be, he wouldn't be as effective for some reason. Like, he keeps a low center of gravity, being 6'4" as opposed to 6'6". Yeah, I'd like to see him play. But he's more like a TO than he is a Randy Moss. You know how Randy Moss was deer-like?
Mm-hmm. No, he's more like
know?
a TO. He's like that perfect square in guy in that Shanahan system, dude. I think, we'll see because, the 49ers, they're actually already talking about releasing Marquise Goodwin. Dante Pettis, I think, last year he had some hype, and this year coming into it, he had some hype. After watching the preseason game last week, I think people are like, oh, no, let's look at these rookies, which I think fairly. But you have a receiving core who's going to have speedy Dante Pettis, who kind of reminds me a little bit of a Deshaun Jackson. Yeah, You got a guy that reminds me of Brandon Cooks and Deebo Samuel, and you got a guy that just reminds me of like a Terrell Owens, Pierre Garçon, but like better than them. I think that it would not shock me if Jalen Hurd makes the Pro Bowl this year. That's really honestly how I think. The only thing that'll keep him away from that is a Garoppolo injury, or if they just keep him off the field because he makes some rookie mistakes or something like that.
Yep.
But he's in dynasty leagues, he'd probably be my top receiver at this point in rankings. Let me go back and look at the thing, but if you're playing like a league and you're going to be in it for 20 years, I think Hurd might have the highest ceiling outside of maybe Mecole Hardman in Kansas City, who we'll talk about next week.
Wouldn't that be something if just him and Jimmy G went nuts on each other, right?
Gosh.
Like just blew up and tore it up. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, man. I think San Francisco, they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. Like I said, 9-7 only because this division's so tough.